The Ubume appears on a road at night, looking exhausted and distressed, carrying a wrapped bundle in her arms. She approaches a traveler and asks them very politely to hold the baby for just a moment. The request sounds harmless. That woman looks so desperate that refusing feels almost cruel. But the moment the traveler takes the bundle, she disappears and the child begins to get heavier, not gradually, rapidly. Within seconds, the weight becomes unbearable, crushing, impossible. The versions of the story say that the bundle transforms into a boulder or a pile of stones wrapped in cloth. Others say the traveler simply collapses under a weight that could not possibly belong to an infant.
Weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Welcome to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Felice.
And I'm Andy. And we are coming to you from Key West, Florida. Please excuse my scratchy voice.
It's very sexy.
Well, thank you.
It's a very radio voice.
Oh my gosh.
I like it.
Wow. My son hates it. He's like, I don't like that voice. It's deep. It's scary.
He's like, you are a scary witch.
And I'm like, there's nothing I can do about it.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. How's everything going?
Good. Tomorrow's Mother's Day.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Happy Mother's. You're in the thick of it right now. So you deserve to be celebrated. We're in the trenches.
Before we started recording, I was like, Felice, have you seen this video? It's hysterical. This lady makes a presentation for her husband about what she wants Mother's Day to be and not be. And then she said her big dream is to get a dumpster.
Yeah. And also for no one to eat in the house that day except for her. She's like, we can go out to a restaurant. You can go get food and bring it to me and I can eat, but only I can eat in the house. And nothing will be cooked in the house all day.
Correct.
Which is valid because sometimes when little people cook things, it ends up being a little more work than was anticipated.
Or big people.
Or big people too. Yes.
But anyway, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. What else you got going
on? So I went to a little tea party today with my daughter. It was a mother-daughter tea party. And despite my best efforts and persuasion to tell her, like, to a tea party, one generally wears, flowered dresses, pastels, things like that. No, we went full on sequins.
Oh, I like that. I was thinking it'd be like Batman or Spider-Man.
Oh, no. I think that there was a tiny person there dressed as a mermaid.
Oh, cute.
But,
she's like, this is a fancy occasion. I'm wearing my sequins.
Yeah.
Hey, I like that.
My daughter was like, absolutely not. I'm wearing this. Like,
yeah.
I look good. That's what she said to me. I look good. And I was like, yes, you do. Here we go.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
It was cute,
cool.
though.
That's awesome. I have to tell you, so my son graduated from college.
Hey,
yes.
He did it.
Yes, big celebration. So we went up there. It was great. The family was there, whatever. But I have to tell you what happened coming back. So you know that my flight got canceled. A bunch of Delta flights got canceled on the day that I was supposed to come back, and which was fine. I had an extra day. No big deal. But when I got back, as I'm pulling into the gate, this lady was at the gate talking to the gate guard. And then she was like, oh, hey, I have to tell you something. I was in front of your house and there was a baby possum there.
Oh.
And I picked it up. So she picked it up, she gave it a bath, and she took it to the wildlife center. But I have to tell you this. I've been trying to manifest a baby possum.
Shut up.
Or a baby raccoon for like months. Okay. I'm not kidding. I've been wishing and dreaming and hoping for a baby possum to appear in my life. And guess what happens? It did happen on the day that I was not there because of Delta Airlines.
Delta Airlines, you're ruining Felice's life, her hopes and dreams.
Yes. I'm like really upset about this. I could have had one.
Oh my God.
In my possession. And
what would
she
you
just
have
turned
named
it. Petunia. I don't know. It depends on it. There's so many options. I don't know. But the fact is that this lady took my possum and then she turned it into the white. She couldn't even hold it for one day.
Gosh, what the heck? Do we know this lady?
A little bit. I don't know.
Man.
But the funny thing is too, so today we went on the boat with your neighbors. And so I was like, we were on our way back and Alyssa was looking at me and she was like, hey, manifest us some dolphins. And I was like, that's what I was trying to do. Just, I was literally like, show me some dolphins. You know, I always do that when we go on the boat. I always am like,
And then
looking
one
so
flipped
hard.
over the bow
Not
of
today.
the boat. And
Not today. It has happened before. Not over the bow of the boat, but I have seen the dolphins before. It's
and then
so
you went
awesome.
to live in their underground lair for a while.
And they held me hostage and I had to build their city.
You and your opposable thumbs.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
That
I'm
is-
feeling all the interesting things also. So the same son that graduated from college, I told you this already, but I have to tell our listeners. So this week I was sitting at my desk and I just had a little feeling, a little motherly feeling.
Intuition.
And so I opened my find my iPhone location app. My kids are still on there. I always ask them, you know, I'm not going to harass you, but just leave your location on just in case, you know, for safety. So I look at his location and it says Jacksonville Airport. And so I was like, oh, interesting. What's this all about? You know, he didn't say he was going anywhere, but I was like, okay, it's not my business. You know, like he's a grown man. 3 minutes later, he texts me, hey, heads up. I'm going to Thailand for 3 weeks with my buddy.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes. He actually just texted me Happy Mother's Day, like right before I walked in. But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, have the best time. Don't drink the water. Be safe. Have a blast. I love Thailand. I've been to Thailand before.
That's awesome. Sage advice.
Yeah. Don't drink the water. Honestly, like that's the number one travel tip. No matter what, don't drink the water.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's what I've got. That's what I've had going on in my life.
That's a lot.
It is. Yeah. I don't know what else is. I was dying to tell you all that about my possum.
I can't believe it. So Thailand sounds really fun. Can we add that to our road trip list?
Oh my gosh. I bet there's a lot of spooky stuff in
Oh my
Thailand.
gosh, I know. I'm
no
like
doubt.
so scared. Oh, remember we were talking about Broke Down Palace and how that movie
Yes.
scarred me.
Yes.
But anyway, back to fun Thailand and on to other fun things.
Yes.
We have an event coming up.
Yes, we do. It's this weekend, Saturday, May 16th. It's at the Saint Hotel. It's our Spirits with Spirits event. It's our second one that we have done. The first one was amazing.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
So we have a limited number of tickets left, but it's super fun because we have cocktails and small plates. We have exclusive access to a few places in Key West, and we have the insider stories about those places. And we do a little walking tour of Old Town, hit up some of our favorite haunts.
Yes. And it comes with a complimentary cocktail or mocktail and small plate. So it is an upscale, beautiful, fun evening. It's just a great time.
And then we do ghost investigations, which is super fun. And last time there were several people who had never done anything like that before and really were into it and enjoyed themselves and are intrigued and maybe a little bit more of a believer now. And so that's cool.
Yes, it's super fun. So please join us. Go to our website, you2scaremepodcast.com. It's under events. You can use the code SPOOKY10 for a discount.
Woohoo.
If this is your first time tuning in, or if you forgot what we do here, hey, what's up?
Hey.
We're just two spooky girls who love to hear and tell stories about weird, paranormal, creepy stuff, and the unusual.
But don't worry, we respect the forces that make things go bump in the night, and we know to keep a safe distance.
We are fully aware that we don't know anything or really understand what's happening with any of this business.
But that's okay. We make sure to laugh to keep it light as we work our way through the strange and unusual. We hope to bring you stories that make you question and give you a chill.
A quick warning before we begin, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Our tales are drawn from folklore, history, and reported experiences, but we don't claim them as fact. Some stories may include sensitive topics, so listener discretion is advised.
Dive into the shadows with us as we bring you haunting tales in this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast.
Shall we dive in? Tonight we're talking about 3 kinds of ghost stories from 3 completely different parts of the world, and each of them is about a mother who loved her child so much that death could not convince her to stop.
Oh.
The first comes from Japan, where a spirit called the Ubume has been haunting dark roads and riverbanks since the 12th century.
Ooh.
Our second story comes from the cold coastal villages of Nova Scotia, where fishing families built generations of ghost stories around the idea that a mother's love is strong enough to outlast death. And the last story is about America's Crybaby bridges, where people in nearly every state have spent decades hearing things that they cannot explain coming from underneath old bridges late at night. That one's pretty cool. These stories come from completely different parts of the world and different centuries, but underneath all of them is the same grief. Every single one of them is about a mother who could not let go.
I understand that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The Ubume has been part of Japanese folklore since at least the 1100s, which makes her one of the oldest named female spirits recorded in ghost tradition anywhere in the world.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that cool? Her name is written with the characters for birthing woman, and the stories about her are consistently rooted in the same circumstances. A woman dies during childbirth or late in pregnancy, and because her attachment to her child is so overwhelming, her spirit cannot move on. She does not become a vengeful ghost in the way that Western horror tends to imagine female spirits. She becomes something more disturbing than that. A mother still trying to do her job, trapped in the moment just before everything was taken away from her.
Oh.
Wandering through the dark, trying to finish what death interrupted. The oldest recorded encounter with an Ubume appears in a 12th century Japanese text called the Konjaku Monogata Rishu.
Wow, you've been practicing your Japanese.
Thank you. It's a massive collection of tales from Japan, India, and China. In that story, a samurai named Urabe no Suetake is traveling along a riverbank at night when a woman appears out of the darkness and asks him to hold her child for a moment. He takes the bundle from her arms, and she vanishes immediately. When he looks down, there is no baby. There's only a pile of dead leaves wrapped in cloth.
What?
Yeah. The story does not explain what she was or where she went. It just records the encounter and leaves you with the image of a man standing alone beside a river in the dark, holding a bundle of leaves, and understanding slowly that the woman was never really there.
That prickles all like the back of my neck.
Yes.
I feel like, I don't know, that's very eerie. Can you imagine?
No, I mean, if that happening and she's like, here, will you hold my baby? And he's like, I guess so. Like some man, I guess so. And then it's dead leaves.
I don't know what it is about that, but that I feel like that touches something deep.
Yeah. Later texts added more detail to what these encounters actually looked like. A 17th century collection called the Hyakumonogatari Hyoban describes the Ubume as soaked in blood from the waist down.
Oh.
Wandering and crying out the words, be born, over and over into the night. Isn't that so sad?
My heart.
Another text from the same era explains that when a woman had desperately wanted a child for years and finally became pregnant, but died in difficult labor, her soul became so obsessed with the idea of the life that she almost had that it transformed into something that could not rest. The blood-soaked appearance has a specific religious context in Japanese Buddhist belief. Women who died in Women who died in childbirth were believed to be sent to a hell called Chi no Ike, which translates as the lake of blood, because in feudal Japanese society, the continuation of a family line was considered so sacred that dying before delivering a healthy child was treated as a kind of spiritual failure.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that so sad?
Awful. Ugh.
Like
it's not bad enough.
Yes, exactly. Like you already went through your own hell, your own personal hell
Right.
of losing a child and dying. Right. Like these are,
Yeah.
she's passed as well.
Right.
But then her soul is punished for that. Like it's her
That's
fault.
Crazy. Whoa.
The grief of those women, according to the belief, was so profound and so unresolved that it became its own supernatural force.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Yes.
hell hath no fury hell hath no
Fury like a woman scorned.
Right? Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. That's so sad. What the Ubume wants depends entirely on what happened to her child. If her baby survived, but she did not, the stories describe doing something remarkably ordinary for a ghost. She goes shopping. Shopping!
I mean, Therapy.
She appears at night at roadside stalls, small shops, and market stands asking to buy food, warm clothing, and sweets for her still living child. She pays with coins that look real in the darkness, but when the shopkeeper examines them in the light of the morning, they have turned to dead leaves.
Oh, what is with these dead leaves?
I don't know. There's a specific version of the story that's been told in and around Kyoto for centuries, involving a woman who appeared every night at a small sweet sake stand near the Sumida River in the Tsukiji district of Tokyo. The sake dealer noticed that something was wrong with her from the beginning.
Too much sake.
Yeah. She always came very late, bought the same thing, and paid in strange coins that he never felt quite comfortable looking at directly. So he thought something was up with these coins. He was like, I don't know. I felt weird looking at these coins.
Weird.
One night, he followed her after she left his stall and watched her walk toward a large temple complex where she disappeared completely, as though a candle had been blown out.
Poof.
Poof. When the sound of a baby crying drifted out of the nearby cemetery, he and several others dug up a freshly covered grave and opened the coffin inside. They found a newborn baby, alive and crying, lying in the arms of its mother's corpse.
What?
She had been buried while still pregnant, had delivered the child inside the coffin, and after death, her ghost had been buying the sweet sake every night to keep it alive until someone found the baby.
Get out.
That's the story.
Freaking scary.
I know. Buried alive, had the baby, died. Your ghost goes and does what it needs to do to keep the baby alive until somebody finds it.
Mother's love.
Yeah. There's no stopping it. You know?
I remember you telling me years ago, like before I had kids, Elise told me, she said, when you have kids, you've never known a love like that.
Yeah.
She's like, the love that you have for, I like clearly remember this conversation. And Felice was like, the love you have for your husband, like, yeah, it's great, whatever. But the love that you have for your children is so much more like all encompassing.
Yeah.
Like,
you will like walk in front of a car for your kid. And I would like to say we would for our husbands too, but it's not instinct, right? Like it is an instinct as a mother to like just do whatever you got to do.
Yeah. I never, I love life. I never before would have like thought of just blindly sacrificing myself for anybody before, but I would 100% do it for my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's wild.
It's crazy.
I mean, and I think, I fully support everybody doing what's right. You know what I mean? I'm not one of these people that's like, what? You don't know love. Like you don't have kids. It's not that. But there is something that is so different. You have a really different kind of experience when you have your own children, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. It's funny, though. But I always think about that. Felice always sprinkles these tidbits of wisdom to me from her experiences. And they plant deep in my heart. And then I always like come back to them.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Let's try not to get choked up. So this story about this mom going to the sake shop and doing what she needed to do for her baby is still told today. There's a small shop in Kyoto that sells candy called Koso Date Ame, child rearing candy.
Oh my gosh.
And that shop claims to be the exact location where a ghost mother came to buy sweets for her baby centuries ago.
I'm picturing, you know how places will have like the wall of fame, like this person, here.
Ghost.
What's her name? Like Ume or
Ubume.
Ubume. Ubume was here.
She's like, I wish you could, if you couldn't see that, you should go on our YouTube channel so you can see my beautiful face as I made that sound.
That was really good.
Thank you. People still buy that candy. In the version of the story where both mother and child died, the encounters are considerably darker. The Ubume, it's Ubume, not Ubume. Ubume appears on a road at night, looking exhausted and distressed, carrying a wrapped bundle in her arms. She approaches a traveler and asks them, very politely, to hold the baby for just a moment. The request sounds harmless. That woman looks so desperate that refusing feels almost cruel. But the moment the traveler takes the bundle, she disappears and the child begins to get heavier, not gradually, rapidly. Within seconds, the weight becomes unbearable, crushing, impossible. The versions of the story say that the bundle transforms into a boulder or a pile of stones wrapped in cloth. Others say the traveler simply collapses under a weight that could not possibly belong to an infant.
Weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
The specific advice recorded in regional Japanese folklore about how to survive an encounter with an ubume includes holding the baby facing outward rather than against your chest. Keep it far away from you. Throwing the strip of cloth onto the road as a distraction, or reciting Buddhist sutras until she leaves. The fact that people develop detailed practical strategies for surviving these encounters says something about how seriously those communities took the stories.
Yeah, it's like the Appalachian, like, don't whistle at night.
Oh, yeah.
If you hear your name, or, no, you didn't, and things like that.
Yeah. It's serious in that community.
Yeah. Wow.
The burial practices that grew up around this folklore are perhaps the most striking detail of all. In many parts of Japan, it became standard practice that if a woman died while pregnant, the baby would be surgically removed from her body before burial and placed in her arms so that she could hold it as she was laid to rest.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm. The logic was that a mother who went into the ground still carrying her unborn child had unfinished business too powerful to release.
Oh.
Isn't that so sad?
Yeah.
If removing the baby was not possible, a doll would be placed beside her instead. These were not symbolic gestures. They were practical precautions taken by communities that genuinely believed that they were preventing a specific kind of haunting.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they still have, practices like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like deeply rooted in that tradition.
I mean, listen, even in some contemporary Japanese hospital settings, the tradition of placing a deceased baby in its mother's arms or a deceased mother holding her child is still observed.
Wow. And
the Ubume legend is part of the cultural memory that keeps that practice alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. I find these stories that are like thousands of years old so fascinating,
Yeah.
because also not just the fact that it's lasted forever, but also it really speaks to the power of a mother's love or whatever it is, like whatever emotion is that we're talking about with that particular folklore story or whatever,
Yeah. Well, but I do think, like we talk about all the time, these stories came from something, right? They're rooted somewhere. And whether the Ubume is still present in Japan, or the story of something that once occurred has continued, like the cultural practice is still in place. That's incredible.
I know. And I think we always go back to like somebody saw something.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Like it started somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weird.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to switch gears. So the maritime ghost tradition of Nova Scotia operates on a completely different register than the Ubume, but it is rooted in the same essential idea that a mother's love is not something that death can simply switch off. A Canadian folklorist named Helen spent nearly 3 decades traveling through isolated fishing communities along the Nova Scotia coastline, collecting these stories before the oral traditions that carried them disappeared completely.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. And what she found was a culture that had developed an entire vocabulary for the supernatural.
Ooh.
Because the sea demanded it. People vanished without warning in those communities. Ships went down in storms and never returned. Fishermen simply did not come home, and families were left with no body, no certainty, and no formal ending to the grief. Sad. I mean, I think like, what a hard way of life. First, number one, that's hard. But also, they're making their livelihood going out on ships, and
those seas are like crazy, right?
Yes. And there's no communication. Like you just have to wait and see what happens. There's no letters or phone calls or internet or anything,
Right. Every time I hear like those old stories about, the women waiting for their husband to come back from sea, like going and staring at the sea for days and days.
They're like sitting in the top tower of the wherever,
Yeah. That's always just so heartbreaking as, military wives whose husbands have gone away. But like, luckily it's at this day and age when there was at least some sort of communication.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that where nothing and then you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then like hoping, waiting.
And then you might get notice if something happens, or you might never know. There might never be closure.
That uncertainty would be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Out of that specific kind of loss, a whole body of ghost lore emerged that is unlike almost anything else in North American folklore. The concept at the heart of most of these stories is called a forerunner, a supernatural warning that arrives just before death, usually experienced by someone close to the person that's about to die. Forerunners come in many forms. A picture falls off the wall at the exact moment someone dies, hundreds of miles away. A clock stops without explanation. A church bell rings when no one is anywhere near it. A woman hears her name called in a voice she recognizes, but when she looks, no one's there. What makes these experiences remarkable in the Nova Scotian tradition is how consistently they center on mothers. On women who knew something before the news arrived, who felt it in their bodies before any logical explanation was available.
Who knew their son was going somewhere strange to Thailand.
Yes. One account collected from a fishing community near the Maritimes describes a mother named Helen, whose youngest son Jimmy was preparing to leave on a 4 or 5 day fishing trip in his mid-20s. In the days before his departure, she could not shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. Not vaguely wrong, but specifically wrong in a way that seemed to involve Jimmy directly. She tried to convince him to stay home. She offered to give him whatever money he needed so he would not have to make the trip. Jimmy told her, as sons do, that she was being superstitious. He kissed her goodbye at the kitchen door, and he walked down the wharf while she watched from her window, feeling, according to her own account, a growing sensation in her stomach that she could not explain and could not dismiss.
Dread. Right?
Dread, yes. 2 nights into his trip, she was lying awake at roughly 12:15 in the morning when she felt a sudden, strong urge to turn toward the doorway of her bedroom. Jimmy was standing there. He looked at her and said, clearly and calmly, "Don't worry, Mom. Everything's okay. You can go to sleep now." It's sad.
It's gonna make me cry.
The next morning, word came from the coast that Jimmy had died at sea during the night.
Oh my gosh.
When the family pieced together the timeline, his death had occurred around the same time his mother saw him standing in the doorway.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't this remind you of the Fudge that we talked about in Ireland? So Forerunner seemed like the Fudge in Ireland.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I don't know. That got me in the feels a little bit.
Yeah. The Forerunner is understood to be the moment when someone who has just died comes back briefly, almost involuntarily, to the person they were most connected to. Because the bond between them was too strong to simply snap without leaving some kind of impression on them. The other category of story that runs through this tradition involves women seen near the water long after they should have been gone. Figures standing at the shoreline in weather that should have driven anyone inside, motionless and staring out toward the sea. In one account from the coastal communities Creighton documented, a woman was repeatedly seen near a harbor after severe storms rolled through the area. She always appeared soaking wet, regardless of whether it was currently raining.
Ooh,
creepy, right?
Yeah.
And she always stood completely still, looking out at the water rather than toward the houses and roads behind her. Older residents who recognized the description eventually explained that decades earlier, a local boy had been lost at sea during a storm, and his mother had spent years walking that same stretch of shoreline, searching for wreckage before her own death.
Oh my gosh.
It's so sad, right?
That's awful.
The implication was not that she had come back to warn anyone. She simply had never left. Her grief had attached itself so permanently to that particular stretch of coast that it was still visible to people who knew where to look.
Oh, poor mama.
I know. These legends are hauntingly quiet. A woman standing near the water, a sun appearing in a doorway, a clock stopping on its own. Oh, like remember the grandma, the tour guide whose grandma passed and the clock stopped?
Yes, I was trying to...
Or no, the clock started. The clock restarted.
I was trying to remember what clock story we just recently talked about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just the knowledge that someone's mom or child came back and they came back because of love. That one is really sad, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, they're all sad because you can't help but like put yourself in like that place.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And I think this last one with the woman just staring at the sea and knowing that there was somebody who did that for all of their days.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can feel the grief. And then I think the worst part is, though, that the grief extends after death. No,
Yeah.
like she's still there.
But maybe it's not her, right?
Maybe it's a replay.
Like, it's just like that imprint of that action that happened over and over and over again. You know?
I hope so. I hope they were reunited.
Okay. Are you ready to switch gears again?
I'm ready.
This one is like this is more contemporary and also a little like spooky fun.
Okay.
I think you'll like it. Almost every town in America with a river or creek or a stretch of dark road leading somewhere outside the usual boundaries seems to have a crybaby bridge tucked somewhere just past the point of where people feel comfortable going after dark. The details vary, but certain pieces survive the retelling no matter where you are. A woman, a child, dark water beneath the bridge, the sound of crying carrying through the night in a way that does not seem to have a physical source. Ooh. Most of these bridges sit far enough outside of town that by the time you get there, after midnight, you already feel cut off from everything familiar, surrounded by dense woods or low marshland with nothing but dark water moving beneath you. The underlying legend almost always involves a woman in extreme circumstances who came to the bridge either because she had nowhere else to go or because grief had pushed her past the point of any rational decision.
Oh, no.
In some versions, a young unmarried woman delivered a baby alone and terrified of what the town would do when it found out, threw herself and the child into the water before anyone could learn what happened.
Oh.
In other versions, she drove off the bridge during a storm and both she and the baby drowned in the creek below. Mm-hmm. In still others, this is the sad one, she drowned the child deliberately before taking her own life moments later.
Oh, gosh.
We hate that one.
Yeah.
The specific details rarely survive with any historical documentation attached to them, and folklorists have noted that nearly identical backstories appear in states that have no conceivable connection to each other, which suggests that the legend travels with people and attaches itself to local geography rather than originating from any specific event. So this is like more in the urban legend category, but still... It's spooky and also, I mean, I have some firsthand accounts, so we'll see what you think of them.
Okay.
Yeah. What people actually report experiencing at these places is remarkably consistent across geography. A woman from Ohio described visiting the Pitchin Crybaby Bridge outside her hometown late at night with a group of friends. This was submitted to paranormal researcher James Willis's Ohio Crybaby Bridge Project.
Oh,
you ready?
Crybaby Bridge Project.
Yeah. So she said, had I heard about the Crybaby Bridge in Pitchin before the experience my friend and I had, I too would think it was just an overshared legend. About 9 years ago, my friend and I were taking a drive through Pitchin. Neither of us had ever heard of Crybaby Bridge at this point. We drive over the bridge and both thought we heard something, but we assumed it was an animal and didn't think twice about it.
It was a possum.
A possum, probably. As the sun was starting to set, we decided to head back to Springfield, going the exact same way we came. As we went over the bridge for the second time, my friend's car loses its momentum and starts to slow down. Then we heard the same noise we'd heard the first time. It was definitely someone crying. But when the car completely stopped, we both swear we heard a cackle.
Oh, no.
Like the one witches make in the movies. Yes. Then crying again. The whole time my friend is trying to start the car, we hear these cries.
Oh my gosh.
Finally, we get the car started, and just as we're driving off the bridge, there was a shadowy figure that looked somewhat female, standing right on the edge of the road by the bridge, cackling. And as we passed her, a dark figure flew across the windshield.
Oh my gosh, stop.
When we got home and told some friends what happened, that's when they told us about Crybaby Bridge. So, okay, let's take this person's account as true. Okay. They didn't even know about it and all that stuff happened. That's
weird. But why were they out there?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's fine. No, but that's freaking spooky.
Yeah.
I was expecting there to be like little kid handprints on the car. You know, that's always.
Just wait.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Pause. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so another woman wrote into the Crybaby Bridge Project about the same bridge in Ohio. I grew up in South Charleston and knew people in Pitchen, so we would go there sometimes. Always heard the baby crying. I recall as we
always heard the baby crying. What the heck?
I recall as we were getting our licenses, we would drive over the bridge and the car would come to a crawl and we'd see a dark figure in the road and hear a crying noise.
Stop.
Same story.
Weird.
Isn't that wild? After enough of these accounts accumulate, certain patterns become impossible to ignore. Witnesses consistently describe an unnatural stillness settling over the area before anything else happens. The crying almost always seems to start at a distance and then move closer in ways that do not feel physically possible. So scary. Oh. A surprising number of people also describe feeling a wave of sadness before fear enters the picture at all. Which may be part of why these legends persist in places where no historical tragedy can be confirmed. So it's not like we don't have stories of ladies throwing their babies off the bridge or whatever, you know. Some bridges have developed elaborate rituals around this. The Sleepy Hollow Road Bridge in Oldham County, Kentucky is one of the most layered of all of them because the ritual people practice there now is sitting on top of something much older and much darker. The story most teenagers hear is about a mother driving home in a storm late at night. When her steering wheel began jerking, her brakes failed, and the car hit the side of the bridge hard enough to throw both her and her newborn through the windshield.
Oh, jeez.
The ritual that grew around the story says that you have to cover your car in baby powder before midnight, sit inside and wait, and at exactly midnight, you will hear baby laughter and feel small thumps hitting the outside of your car. When you get out, there will be tiny footprints pressed in the powder on the hood. But underneath that story is an older one that local historians have documented.
Oh.
And it has nothing to do with the storm. The original covered bridge at that location was reportedly a place where mothers, some enslaved, some desperately poor, some carrying children born of incest or assault, threw their babies into the water below to be carried out to the Ohio River.
Whoa.
That's heavy. There's even a folk song that English settlers brought to the area centuries ago called A Cruel Mother that became so tied to the stretch of road that locals say it's been sung in that hollow for generations.
Wow.
It tells the story of a mother who becomes pregnant by another man while preparing to be married. She kills the baby the moment it is born and then walks straight to the church for her own wedding.
Oh my gosh.
The children she murdered speak to her from the grave. And these are the lyrics to the song.
Oh my gosh.
Mother dear, when we were thine, out ye took a little penknife, and ye parted us in our sweet life.
Whoa, it's dark.
Yeah, I know. But so this is all like historically connected to this specific area by this one bridge.
I wonder though, like what about, like why there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand there's these historical records and, you know, these women who experienced unimaginable tragedy and hardship and things like that, like, you know, did what they thought they had to do in that moment of desperation or whatever. But why? Like, why there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. And I don't know if that's like a economically depressed area. I don't know anything about that area, but if it's just a hard place to live,
right?
You know,
this is not the same bridge with the dark figure.
No, this is a different one. This one is in Kentucky, but I think the other one was like southern Ohio, and this is northern Kentucky. So it's probably generally still the same area-ish. Two witnesses traveling from completely different directions on separate occasions both reported rounding a corner near the bridge and seeing a woman standing motionless in the middle of the road. One swerved to avoid her and hit a guardrail. The other did not have time to swerve, drove straight through her, and she disappeared.
Ooh.
The ritual gets passed from older siblings to younger ones, from one graduating class to the next. By the time any teenager makes the drive out there after midnight, they're already expecting something creepy to happen. Yeah. They want it to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes something apparently does happen. The Fudge Road Bridge in West Alexandria, Ohio, has one of the simplest and most unsettling rituals of any bridge in the country. You park your car, turn off the ignition, roll down all the windows, and say the word, Mama,
Oh, God.
3 times. That's it. You're not calling the mother. You're speaking in the voice of the child, saying the last word the baby ever got to say at the place where it died.
Oh, my, what?
And then you wait.
Oh, my gosh.
A commenter who grew up near the bridge wrote, I never believed the stories and rumors of the Crybaby Bridge, but one dark and stormy night, we were bored and loaded up in my car and headed to Fudge Road. I parked in the middle of the bridge, turned my lights and car off, rolled down the windows, and began to say the saying my grandparents had told me. Right, so this is an old tradition, like an old legend. Then I turned my lights on, and everything I heard about was true. We all heard a baby crying, and over to the side of the bridge was a puddle of rainwater, which showed the image of a newborn baby's face looking up through the water, crying. We were all so terrified, we ran screaming.
What?
Isn't that wild?
That's so spooky. I gotta chill. I can't.
Another person who said they were 16 at the time wrote, I did the bridge ritual. I swear this to be true. We heard a cry, got back in, and drove off. Then went back a couple of minutes later to do it again. And it happened 3 more times, all of which were closer to us. The last one sounded like it was right in front of my car.
Ooh. Ooh. Don't like that.
No, the road has since been closed to vehicle traffic at night. They're like, okay, kids, enough's enough, kids.
Oh my gosh.
So, what connects an ancient Japanese spirit, a Canadian fishing community's ghost, and rural bridges in the American Midwest, you may ask? I think it's the specific emotional texture of maternal grief. The idea that a mother's attachment to her child does not simply obey the normal rules about what love can and cannot survive, regardless of the time or place when and where the story happens to be told. Throughout history and across continents, people have told the same story. A mother and child separated by death and a bond so strong that neither one of them could let it end there.
Wow.
What do you think about all that?
So the bridge ones, I feel like, are a little more urban legend.
Yeah, for
what
sure.
I mean? Like, I've been to a couple of spooky bridges in my time. But the other ones, and I mean, even maybe the backstory behind some of the, or like wherever the bridge legend originated, I kind of believe it. I think, like we mentioned, the depth of a mother's love is wild. Mm-hmm. And I think that grief or love can drive you to do crazy things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that love extends past death.
And especially if, if we think of like paranormal things or spiritual things as unfinished business, man, imagine the unfinished business that you must have if you pass before you get a chance to have your life with your child.
Right.
You know? It's heavy stuff.
It sure is. I know. I always think about like if something terrible happened to me and Ryan was alone with the kids.
I always would think, who will cut their little baby fingernails? I always Lord, don't let anything happen to me. No one's gonna cut their fingernails or get them into college.
Or make sure they eat a single vegetable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think there's something there. I really liked those stories, though. That was a good celebration of women and mothers.
Yes, absolutely.
How wonderful.
Mm-hmm. It is like an all-encompassing love that you have for your child.
Okay. Awesome. Are you ready for Somebody Told Me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so since we're already on this sort of love train and things like that.
Love train. It's like a disco hit. Okay.
Oh, hey. I think I mentioned this to you recently. Well, I have this friend, and he was my friend in high school. He was several years older than me, but he was my friend in high school. He was my friend in college. He was my friend post-college. Never any sort of like romantic business or anything like that. Always just kind of like almost like a little big brother kind of thing, always kind of like, oh my gosh, you idiot. Here we go. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, once, and even like after I got married, we were friends and things like that. But then it was just kind of like, once I had kids, priorities change, and I was like so busy,
of course,
trying to survive. And he got married, and we just kind of drifted apart. Last week, I randomly had a dream about him. It was just like a weird conversation. Some of our mutual friends were there, and then like that within just a couple of days, he came up in conversation several times. So I was like, okay, I feel like the universe is telling me something. I need to like reach out and just see like, is he okay? Is something happening? Like, So I texted him, and we just got caught up. Everything was fine, thank goodness.
Yes.
He and his wife are living a great life and remodeling, doing all this stuff and whatever. And I got him caught up on what was happening here, and I told him about the pod, and I sent him the link, and he was like, oh, I'm listening right now, and he's like, oh my gosh, I like didn't even recognize your voice. Anyway, it was cool. And I was like, hey, do you have any stories? And he is one of those people who he's kind of like no BS. He's just whatever, like thinks I'm ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
whatever. And he always would tease me about aliens because, he knows how afraid I am of them. So sometimes he would just like randomly send me like a gray, and I'm like, no. Okay. So anyway, he was like, actually, I do have a couple of stories.
Oh, okay.
And so when his grandmother passed away, his dad shortly thereafter saw her sitting in a chair in the spare bedroom where she was staying before she passed.
Oh.
And then, interestingly enough, shortly
So that was his grandma?
His grandma.
Okay.
Yeah, so my friend Brent's grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly thereafter then, the cleaning lady also saw grandma, but she saw her outside in the yard looking like up at the house.
Whoa.
And she was like, oh my gosh, like whatever. So that was one story.
Yeah.
But I think that speaks to sort of that familial tie, like that was the place where she was. She was probably checking on the family in my mind.
Yeah.
So Brent's dad passed away a couple years ago, and he was such a cool guy.
Yeah.
Like he ran this golf clinic for kids. He always had, like a scotch at the end of the night, just like super cool guy. Everybody loved Bob, right? Brent's an only child, and he and his dad were super close. So it was a few days after his dad's funeral, and Brent woke up and he saw his dad standing at the foot of his bed.
Oh my God.
And he said that he was in a white t-shirt, but he was in his 20s. And he didn't like say anything, but he just felt this sense of comfort. And then his dad just kind of faded away.
Whoa.
And he hasn't seen him again. But that was just a few days after his funeral. And he said, and he was like, I don't know if it's real. And I said, no, I totally think that was your dad. And he's like, I kind of think so too. And I think that he was just there to give that comfort, that closure. Hey, I'm okay. Like, look at me,
I'm looking good. I mean, don't you hope that when you like get your ghost outfit, like you get to be your hottest version of yourself?
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, I loved that.
That's
and
so awesome.
It was an unexpected story from an unexpected source.
Yeah.
But I think
I love those.
That just goes back to like sort of what this whole episode is about, that love,
that connection.
And in this case, it was, a father's love.
Yeah.
And I love
that's so cool.
And thanks, Brent, for sharing that story and letting me share it here.
Yes, that is awesome. Thank you, Brent.
And thank all of you for listening to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Have you checked out our website, you2scaremepodcast.com? You can find blog posts about our episodes, sweet photos of us, and links to buy our spooky gear.
Yes, and you can go under the events tab and book your Spirits with Spirits event for this weekend.
Do it.
Listeners, do you like what you hear? Help us reach more ears by sharing the show with your fellow weirdos, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and of course, joining the Patreon. The link is in the show notes, or you can just go to patreon.com and search You Two Scare Me podcast.
You can also help us by rating and reviewing us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't forget to check out our social media. Find us on Instagram at You2ScareMe_podcast or our Facebook page, You Two Scare Me Podcast. You can even follow us on TikTok, You Two Scare Me Podcast, no spaces.
Remember to send us your own spooky stories for our Somebody Told Me segment at You2ScareMePodcast@gmail.com. That's YOUTWO scaremepodcast@gmail.com.
I'm actually digging through the archives right now for my somebody told me, so we need stories. Send them in.
Send all of your stories.
Yes. And thank you for wandering through the shadows with us.
Until next time, stay curious and beware what lurks beyond the light.